Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. This is a creative channel. I do a lot of paper arts and junk journals and things like that. So I'm sitting in the workshop right now. It's kind of chilly outside. I've got my little heater going back here. I hope you can hear me okay. I'll try to speak up. I've got my kombucha. It's okay. I know it's good for me. I don't drink too much. I have a few Fritos. They're probably not that great for me. But one thing I found out recently is that this cold weather, I just don't want to be out here when it's in the single digits. I don't. When it is in the 30s, I can bump the temperature up with the heater and it's tolerable. What is perfect is like when it's 50s, 60s, 70s outside. I do have a range of temperatures where if it's really hot, it takes the air conditioner out here all the time. That is more tolerable, I think, than when it's so cold because I have cement floors, there's no insulation. But one of the things that I have decided that I definitely want to have with me all the time, and let me show you something. So this is one of my art bags that I carry, and let's see if I can turn it. It's like a gardening bag almost. You can buy these craft bags or gardening bags. There are pockets on the ends. There's a zipper pocket here, and there's all sorts of wonderful space in the center where you can put like, this has got my Caran d'Ache crayons in it. And then in the center, I've got all kinds of paper, and I've got my stapler, I've got a punch, I've got my glue. I still need to buy tacky glue. That's why I didn't have this outside last night though, out here. This was in the house. But I have something really special that I want to make, and I want to have a bunch of these made up out here so that I can grab them quickly and take them inside to make my mini journals or my little prayer journals or work in my regular junk journals or art journals and do collage. And I want to show you what that is. Okay, I've got a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock here. Here are a couple of different manila legal or file folders. This is a legal size. It's 8.5, but then it's 14 this way. And then here's one of the 8.5 or 9 by 11 or 12, whatever it is. This is for an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. That's for legal paper. So the fun thing about these folios is that you can do any size that you want to do. I'm interested in making one that is pretty much the size of, you know, like an 8.5 by 11. That's what I'm going to use to sort of fold my file folder up to make a folio. So I'm going to put this right here in the center. I really probably should score this. And do I have something? I've got a tool here that's really nice for scoring. And I think what I can probably do is just run it alongside of my straight edge here. So I'm going to line this right up with the edge of the 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to go all the way down here, score it there, and then across the bottom, and I'm going to go all the way across, and then let's go ahead and score it on this side. I felt like it would make it a little bit neater. And what I've done is just make some score marks around this because we're going to fold this in this way. And we're going to fold this in this way. So that we have a folio like this. Okay, let's go ahead and fold this up. And that's our score line there. So, you know, it's going to be like this. We're going to have pockets, plenty of good pockets. And if it's not exactly even, I think just kind of the way it turns out, we've got an edge that we can trim off over there, and I can pull that up just a little bit more. But this folio is going to be so nice to be able to put ephemera in. I know I scored it, but I can't stand it when it's hanging over. I want this to be even, so I did change that crease a little bit. You know, to make these, let me show you, let's do one real quick without scoring anything. And I'll show you another size that's a lot of fun as well. you can fold these way in, like it might be easier not to score anything. So you can fold so far in that these pages are going to overlap each other. And then, of course, you know, bring this up so you have a pocket. This is going to be a smaller folio. And see how it folds over itself, and you could find a way to attach that. But when you open it, you've got a pocket here, you've got a pocket here, and you've got a pocket here. And you can close the edges. You can glue something pretty in the background. You know, so many different options. So you don't even have to score your folder. But I'm going to start with this kind of big one. I don't know why. Maybe I'm going to end up wishing it overlapped a little more. But we're just going to do it like this for now. And I think what I want to do is glue this piece in the center to make it more sturdy. This is the 8.5 by 11 cardstock that we scored around. So I'm going to glue that down and I'll be right back. Okay. We do have some ripples where the glue is there. I glued down the 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and then I went ahead and added a really pretty 8.5 by 11 piece of stationery. And it's a little bit lighter, which is probably one of the reasons that you can see those ripples. Now, we can continue to crease these folds as we go along. I'm not going to worry too much about that. I do want some color on this paper, and I want to add some pretty embellishments. So I'm going to go ahead and distress up all of the edges with this Tattered Rose Distress Oxide. And it's okay with me if it goes a little, you know, like a little astray like that did, because I might come back with a paintbrush. I am going to come back with a wet paintbrush and maybe spread this around some, and also use my dryer to dry it. So let's just put some pretty color on here. You all know I can be very hard on art supplies. I do use them, and I don't mind, you know, dragging this ink all over everything. So let's really get along the edge. That's really a pretty color. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off for now and continue distressing this folder with this, and I may also come in at the edges with some of the vintage photo. Oh my goodness, I love this. I have to turn the camera back on and show you where I am with this. I went ahead and finished distressing a lot of the areas with the Distress Oxide and that really pretty, rose color, Tattered Rose. I did go around the outside edges here with a little bit of vintage photo. I didn't want to put too much. And there's also some white gesso that I've just put, you can see, just here and there and everywhere to kind of fill in some of the manila folder that doesn't have any color on it. I want to add really pretty embellishments and decorations to all these areas. I stamped this beautiful stamp here that had some text around it, and then I came back with another text stamp. And this was done with the Stampin' Up! In Rich Razzleberry. I've had this for a long time. I love it. It's a really deep sort of, you know, pink, purple, burgundy. It's a beautiful color. So I'm going to be putting things over this, but I want that pretty text in the background. And I have this very wide piece of lace that I'm going to be sewing all the way around the outside. And I'm going to leave it open at the top so that we have a pocket on the outside as well. And when I sew it into place here, what that's going to end up doing is closing this so that we have this pocket here. I'm not going to put that on right away though, because I want to add my other embellishments to the outside in case I end up, you know, wanting to put something low here. I don't want to have that glued into place and then not be able to add something here. So that'll go on last. And then, you know, just looking at the inside, I'm probably going to put some more stamps on the inside. In fact, I wanted to add this pretty stamp. So let's go ahead and see if we can do that. Get enough ink on here. We might put this over here since I didn't really get a lot of gesso on that pocket. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. What I want to do is make up quite a few of these folios that I can put materials in, and they're easy to just grab and take into the house so that I can work inside when it's cold. And I'm not out here going through everything thinking, oh, I want a few of these, and some of this and some of that. I want to have some little craft folios ready to go with maybe different colors and themes. And I thought, you know, it's also going to be nice to be able to come out here. That turned out pretty. Kind of a little bit smudgy maybe, but not bad. It's also going to be nice when I come out here and I have new things that I've purchased that I know I'm going to want to use soon, to be able to stick them right in a folio instead of putting them in a stack or a pile where they're going to disappear forever and ever. Let's see what happens when we add. Just leave that like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go around the workshop and gather up some lace, some different embellishments, maybe some pieces of fabric. Who knows? I may glue some paper on the back of this to go ahead and match the inside there. And I will be back when that's done. This is turning out really, really pretty. I like it a lot. Let me show you some things I added. There's some seam binding that I stitched all of the way from here to here, and I let some, you know, extra hang off on this side. I did stitch the pocket that's made from the really large lace all the way around here, so we've got a pocket on the outside. I'll show you something else I plan to do with that pocket. One thing I will say, so this closes almost perfectly. When you have a file folder and you open it up, if you make the inside of the folio be 8.5 by 11, these flaps are going to meet almost perfectly. I do think when I make another one, I'm going to have them overlap more, because I think we're going to get less wear and tear here by having them overlap a little more. However, I like this fine. This is the size that I wanted. Now, I did use the sewing machine and I ran out of thread. And sometimes the bobbin it goes crazy when the thread runs out. It makes this loud noise. So that is kind of an unsightly area, but I don't mind that. There are going to be things over this. It kind of adds to just the junk journal feel of this. Even though this is a folio, it's kind of junky. I put a vintage button here in this beautiful sort of green color. Looks like an old kitchen color from the 50s. So that seam binding can just tie around there. We've got some old stamps, some pieces of lace, and a little piece of fabric. That's a really nice cotton fabric. It's so beautiful. I'll have to show you that. I've already put it away. But so we've got a pocket on the back. And then one thing I really like about this cloth pocket is that I'm going to be able to add some things to this little ephemera kit with safety pins. So I could have even a little pouch that has binding cord and a needle in it if I'm going to take one of these in to work on a mini journal or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get some things together to fill this up, and I will show you what I have in it when I'm done. This one's going to be all sort of, you know, vintagey, pink, floral, things that I'm going to use to make my next little mini journal. This ephemera folder is done, and I love the way it turned out. Now, there's a lot clipped to the outside of this, and that's okay. I'm going to be using this stuff, and I did find, let me show you this. I went ahead and pinned it to the front, even though it's a little bit bulky. I did find a rusty washer, and I definitely wanted that right here on the front. But I found a few pieces of trim and fabric that I'm going to take inside and probably use in my next tiny journal. I love to make those while I'm inside sitting on the couch, and I'm still going to do a tutorial on how I put those together. I'll try to get that done in the next few days. But this turned out great. So this is wrapped loosely around the button. I didn't want to pull too tight because there's a lot in here. I found this really pretty fake leaf while I was out here cleaning, and putting things together, but I love that. It's a little bit brittle, so I didn't want to put a safety pin through it. I'm probably going to glue it to something. It's pretty. It's got a tear in it, but it looks real. So I just used a rusty paper clip to put that right here on the front. What this is basically is an ephemera folder or an ephemera folio that I can put a lot of supplies into. We've got stickers, and again, I guess I could put the ribbon in there because that's just another textile or fabric piece that I came across that I want to take inside. I've got a little pouch with some pretty buttons in here, and there was one more button left on, why is that going that way? On this card. That's really pretty. I think Ava sent me these. So I still have one of those, and I think, I could be wrong. Anyway, I appreciate those buttons so much. And then some really pretty buttons in here. I just pulled out some that I feel like kind of go along with this pretty folio and everything inside. We've got some, look at the shoe. There's a little shoe. And then the pretty silver buttons, and there's a sort of a glass button, and couple of pink ones and a few white ones. I have thread already in my, you saw that chest that I have set up. I've got thread in there, I've got needles, and it's all ready to go, so I don't need to add that to this. This was mostly to get my paper and ephemera together. There's some more stickers that look like old typewriter keys, and then when we get inside, just carry that in separately. So when we open this up, I've got some beautiful old tickets. I love this pink color, 2 different styles. Look at the little stationery. I've got some of this in the current fun packs that I'm putting together. There's a couple of botanical stickers in here. And then in this envelope, I've got some pieces of jewelry and some trinkets that I'm probably going to attach to the next little miniature journals that I make. And also I have some beautiful Alice in Wonderland themed scrapbook paper that Jay sent to me, and I've been wanting to use this. I've had it all together, so I spent some time today cutting it down, you know, into manageable bits, and I have a lot of this I'm going to use in some miniature journals that I plan to make. And then in the center, this is the main reason I wanted mine to be wide enough to accommodate 8.5 by 11, because I do have, oh, look at this. Look at this fabric where someone laid something rusty on it. That's on my list of things to do, is to do some rusty images onto fabric. But just some pretty butterfly cards and some notebook paper, little pieces of notebook paper. There's an envelope that has got a lot of the butterfly die cuts, the smaller ones. There's a pretty postcard that I can cut down and use that image. Just really pretty paper. And look at this wallpaper. That texture is amazing. And there's a vintage letter. I might, you know, break that down or fold it up and put it in the journal. There's a large piece of handmade paper someone made, but look, you can see bits of paper that actually have writing on them. So I'll be using some of that. And then just a large stack of all of this really pretty Alice in Wonderland paper that Jay sent me from Graphics 45. So I've really been wanting to get into this, and I'm glad to have it all together in this pretty folio so I can take it inside and use it while I'm sitting on the couch. And then here, this is just some heavy, it's almost like a, I don't know what this is. It's like a plaster tape or something. Some more old tickets. That's Chattanooga. It says Indiana ticket. I'm not sure what kind of theme park or whatever that went to. There's another mushroom image. Here's a label that has cotton on it, all-purpose cotton batting, an old receipt or ticket. There's more of the Alice in Wonderland. I cut a few pieces of that out. So the good thing about these folios, you can just really, I can really load these up out here with things that I want to work with and keep it all consolidated and take it easily into the house. And I love that it's going to just stand right in here with my other items. So that gives me one of my folios to take inside. There's the little pouch with the fabric pieces. And what I do is, you know, I just take this in with me. Oh, here's my glue. I've got to get tacky glue, people. There's not much left in this, and this is all I have left in the whole wide world of glue. So there's that. I love the way it turned out. That was my sole purpose for coming out here this afternoon, is to make one of those folios. I'm definitely going to be making more of those. All right, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you. Remember to like the video if you like this content, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe if you're inclined to do so. I will see you soon, and bye for now.